Scholarship, philosophy.
What I try to do in my research is I try to focus upon field confusions. I believe that research that upsets a paradigm is more important than works that go in a pre-structured direction. I'm not really into this thing where you create a club before you create a science. In other words, you create a club and it produces a product and we're supposed to labor for that product. It strikes me that it's much more important to take the club product and try to critique it in a certain way to see whether it can withstand the critique, because that's really what the heart of science is supposed to be anyway, or at least critical inquiry. And so what I try to do in my work is I try to look for field confusions. I try to look where a network or a club is kind of stuck in a rut in a certain way. And so what I'll bring to bear on that is usually something that's multidisciplinary and theoretical in nature. I like to write sole-authored monographs. I don't like the article format. And I don't like to take the stuff that I do and put it in all sorts of other venues. You know, like some people, what they'll do is they'll write some articles, then they'll make the article into the book. So it's very duplicative. And then they'll spin off from the book more articles, you know. So like you're talking about the same thing and you're just regurgitating it. It's in this space, it's in that space. I'm not into pub counting. I think it's stupid. And I can't stand the fact that we live in a pub counting academic situation. This is, I don't like it. I'm old school. Philosophers, if they're doing their job right, it's turbulent. You should be troubled, you know. Things should just bother you. In many ways, philosophers are kind of weird. They're supposed to be. They're supposed to be. And so you get kind of troubled, and maybe you express it in certain ways. Maybe you do certain labors. Maybe your solutions, you think they're great, but they're not. This is like Wittgenstein, right? His first solution, thought he solved everything. Really creative thing. And then he says, no, it's got flaws. You got to go back and do it again. And what's my point? What comes out toward the end of your life, not to the end of your life, the end of your academic career, the backside of your academic career, what comes out on that backside usually is the thing that's most significant. And that's true where you're doing philosophy as original thinking. It may not be true if you're writing a textbook, or if you're doing an encyclopedia, or if you're very good at curating other people's thoughts. Some philosophers, some academics, most academics go that route. They keep track of what other people are thinking, and that's fine. I'm not criticizing that. Really, to be honest with you, it's people like me, the kind of work we're doing, we're fighting against not being discriminated against. You know, it's not like I'm condemning someone who wants to do what Wittgenstein called journalism, but really it's people like me who are fighting for their own space. That if you're doing creative, theoretical work, man, you've got a large hill to climb. You have a really large hill to climb. And usually that culminates toward the back half of your career with an opus or two, and that's the way it's supposed to be. So I'm not into the pub counting. I think pub counting is ridiculous. Some professors of philosophy who had really, really good ideas, oftentimes they only have one. You know, if you look at the way philosophy is, you start off early in life, that's usually not where your best work is. It's opposite for mathematics. If you're in mathematics early in life, you're doing really groundbreaking things. But for philosophy, you don't really do your best work until you're 40, 50, and maybe even into your 60s.